Well, hello, fine friends and family, and Logan. I
Hello,
guess
Greg.
you classify as friend, so you're included in there.
I may as well just be family at this point.
That's true. That's true. I see more of you than most of my family. So talk about that might cause it not to be, but not much to talk about with the game, as Illinois just trounces Eastern Illinois 112-67. Never really a doubt. And I'm gonna be fully transparent off the jump. The game did not have my full attention tonight because of that. Until Will Riley started doing some things that were awesome, and I watched intently. So that's the gist of it. Illinois dominates. Freshmen looked really good. I don't know how much we can or will dive into the stats and the numbers because, again, it is Eastern Illinois. Not much to take from it. But he's Logan. I'm Craig. Thanks for joining. This is one of hopefully many post-game shows for Illinois basketball this season. We'll try and do as many as we can. We both, as I think all of you realize and accommodate, we both have lives outside of this, especially right now. Logan is planning a wedding that's almost a month away. I have a 12-week-old baby that will probably require some attention during the season at some point. So can't guarantee we'll do 39 or 40 of these, but we're going to do as many as we can. So while you're here, like and subscribe, and thanks for watching, and get in the chat with your thoughts. We'll read some of them as we go along. Logan, you're wearing the wrong colors.
In honor of Kerry Booth, wearing my Notre Dame colors.
Okay.
Wearing my Actually, I wore my my orange hoodie, my Illinois hoodie, out on my little exercise after work because now it's dark at 5:00, so I wanted to make sure that I stood out a little bit. So it was it was kind of a little sweaty, so I just didn't put it back on. Yes, Kerry Booth. Hello, how are you?
Good.
Yeah.
How do you deal with the time change?
Huh?
How do you deal with the time change? Does it impact you? This is.
I mean, it doesn't impact me
now, but
the biggest impact is that the last several months I have tried to be active, like outside after work, like
so
that's
you can
just
fit in your tux.
Yeah. And so it makes it difficult to do that. Yeah. I mean, I guess I enjoy having a little more daylight in the morning now because that had gone away for a while. But I'm not a huge fan. Yeah. But I mean, it is what it is.
So. It is what it is. Yeah. All right, let's just dive in. Illinois wins 112-67. What's it math wise?
40, 45?
40,
45. 45.
We just did the math, so it should have been top of our brain. 45.1.
My calculator. Had it on the calculator.
Will Riley, leading scorer, 31 points. Who was it? I think it was Robert Rosenthal just tweeted. He scored 26 in the second half, I think. 26 minutes. 26 points in 11 minutes in the second half. He was 8 of 9, 4 of 4 from 3, 6 of 7 from the free throw line. Also 3 rebounds. So what a second half from that kid. I mean, I haven't seen him tweet it yet. Is that the freshman debut record? It has to be close to it. Has to be. Freshman debut scoring record.
I mean, I would think so, yeah.
Go to stats and notes. 6 minutes ago, Will Riley's 31 points are the most by an Illini freshman in their debut in program history. Yeah, not surprised by that. So good for him. There was someone in 20s. I don't have the box score up anymore because I'm texting. Someone scored 20. Gibbs-Lawhorn, 21. If he could play Eastern Illinois every night, yeah. He scored 18 last year. So hopefully he can maintain that. I think he'll get more minutes, so he'll maintain.
Maybe it wasn't didn't Georgie have a big? Maybe it wasn't his first game. Maybe I'm just making that up.
At one point Georgie had the freshman scoring record.
Okay, but it wasn't
he scored
it wasn't his
34.
First game or anything.
No, okay. No, he scored 34. In the middle of the season and took Dion's record from him. I was still at Well, yeah. And then Humberkaus and Ivisic each with 14, Yakachonis with 11, and then Kylan and Trey White with 5. Kerry Booth had 6. Morez Johnson got on the board, and so did AJ Red. He had 2 points as well. So good for him to get some minutes and play. Jake Davis had 8 minutes, no points, and Keaton Kuchar, Ashton's cousin, had 3 minutes and no points. Rebounding wise, Illinois dominated the boards. Ivisic had 14. He was so much bigger and more physical than everyone on Eastern. It was unfair. No one else in double figures, but Merez had 8 and Will Riley had 7. So 31-7 for a debut from Will Riley. We're going to talk about that a lot. A lot of guys with 5, Hummer Gauss, Trey White, Yakachonis, Kerry Booth all had 5. So as a team, Illinois rebounded Eastern 57-27. So it wasn't even close there. Nothing. I mean, it was a 45-point win. So there's not much you can take, and we're not going to dissect a box score. So I mean, we'll really just kind of jump into it. Logan, my first question to you is Will Riley as advertised?
I mean,
4 hours ago, Logan Lee at 6'12".
The dude can
advertised.
The dude can fill it up.
Better.
He can certainly fill it up. Yeah, I mean, let's just address it. We haven't really talked about it on the show. You and I have talked about it offline a little bit. I've been a little skeptical of the Will Riley edition from the very beginning. I felt like it was a strange addition as a 17-year-old reclassifying on a team that already had so many wings on it. I just felt like it was a strange addition to make. Then we had all this offseason of what does this do to the rotation? Where do the minutes go? Who's starting? Who's the finisher? All these things. Then the news came out today, which we will address, the Ty Rodgers situation. And so that really kind of got me thinking, like, obviously we're sacrificing Ty Rodgers now, like officially. Like that's the nail in the coffin of the Ty Rodgers experience for Will Riley. Obviously he is an offensive phenomenon. At least today was. I mean, I certainly still have some questions moving forward with him once we get into Big Ten play and those type of things. But yeah, I mean, 31 points is certainly something. So good as advertised, I would certainly say so. Yes, yes. I'm prepared to eat my words.
Get in my analytical brain here. In the box score, efficiency and game score are the two things that I look at. Efficiency is all the good minus the bad, and game score is on a scale of 0 to 40. I don't know how it's measured, but it's on a scale of 0 to 40. And Will Rogers has the highest I've ever seen in the 3 years.
Will Riley?
2 3 years. What'd I say?
You said Will Rogers.
That's the quarterback for Washington.
Combining Will Riley. Name of both players.
Yeah. Imagine if we could combine those two players.
I would take it.
Will Riley's game score, 0 to 40, 30.6. Ivisic had a double-double. Gibbs-Lawhorn scored 21, and Gibbs-Lawhorn was 15.4. Ivisic was 12.4. So Riley doubled their game score, and they both had career game. Not that so far, that's DGL's career game. Hopefully it's not Tommy's career game. And then efficiency, Will Riley was 37. Kylan Boswell was 3. So Will Riley had himself a day.
He had himself a second half.
Eastern Illinois.
Yes.
Remind you, throughout this episode, this show, it was against Eastern Illinois.
Yes.
Let's just look at Ken Palm number here. You got to be
historically
right?
One of the worst teams in college
280
basketball.
Maybe. Yeah, 334.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Literally one of the worst teams in college basketball. So let's not
There's 364.
Let's not get too ahead of ourselves.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
This was Eastern Illinois.
Yes.
So if you didn't win this game by at least 30 points, it would probably be concerning.
Is it bad that I was nervous on the line of 25.5? I didn't put anything on it because I was like, I don't know.
I don't think so. I really don't. I mean, I think 25.5 is that probably makes sense to me. Just after what we saw, in the Ole Miss exhibition game, some question marks here. Like, I don't think there was any doubt that Illinois wouldn't win this game and win this game by double digits. But I mean, yeah, I can see why you might have stayed away from that for sure.
Yeah. I didn't bet anything today. First day of the season. I've been busy. I'm all in on college football right now. Okay, so did Will start? I wasn't
No,
paying attention to the game,
no,
to be
he did
completely
not
honest, in
start.
the
And
beginning.
honestly, I don't know that he will start for a while. I think Brad's going to stick with the lineup with Trey White in that spot in the starting lineup. I think he likes having Will come off the bench. Will that change eventually? Maybe. But
I
I
mean,
think for a while you're going to see that same starting five with Trey White out
yeah.
there in that wing spot.
Trey White did not make a field goal tonight. He was
No.
5 of 6 from the free throw line for 5
Trey
points.
White and Kylan Boswell were not good.
No,
And these are the two most experienced high
which
major
I'm fine
players
with
on this
that.
team now that Ty is not going to play. Those are the two most experienced guys at this level.
Yeah,
And so far in 2 games, one of them that counts and one of them does not. Neither of them have looked good.
I mean, the exhibition against Ole Miss, I just kind of throw out. It was a straight
Sure.
up get your experience. But tonight, Kylan and Trey not playing well, I'm fine with it because it allowed the freshmen to take the show and get their feet wet, if I
Of
can use a
course.
cliche, against a very bad team in their first college game. They have 2 more opportunities to do that. You don't need Kylan and Trey until the Alabamas, until the Missouris,
It's
until
true.
the Tennessee games that where they can show their scars and show their veteran experience.
But
So I'm fine
here's
with
the
the way
thing
tonight played
though.
out.
Here's the thing. I agree with you, and I understand where you're coming from, and I'm with you. Um, I still want to see it.
Yeah.
I
Well, yeah, okay.
The thing about Kylan Boswell and Trey White is that both of them have 2 years of high major experience under their belt as key players on, well, one of them a good team and the other one not good teams. But they weren't the guys. Like, they were role players on their teams. Neither of them were ever the focal point of an offense. And here we are now. Obviously, when you have Jacashonis and Will Riley, you may not need them to be the focal point of your offense. But I think I'm wanting to see a little bit more out of them, and that's where I would like to maybe see some of that here in these first 3 games. But I get what you're saying.
What's your biggest takeaway tonight? I don't think there's much else to talk about game wise. So just what was your biggest
Um, biggest
impression other than Will
takeaway.
Riley, of
I
course?
mean, yes, Will Riley's second half was certainly something. I'm I'll go with Ben Hummerkaus. Um, Again, I know you mentioned, just kind of throwing out the exhibition game. He looked lost
Mm-hmm.
on last Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Just absolutely lost. So I think this was a good opportunity for him to get in front of a home crowd, to get some shots up. We know he's going to be a good shooter. We know he can do some things, but he showed me a little bit more tonight than I was. I wasn't sure what we were getting out of him other than just being a spot up shooter. And he did a few more things tonight that I was impressed with. Oh, and the other thing, and I tweeted about this, the ball movement at the beginning was great.
Hmm.
Like they were whipping it all the way around. KJ can do a lot of things with the ball. He finished with 7 assists. He should have had about 15
He's so smooth.
because he's very smooth. He was getting the ball into the hands of open shooters who were just
Mm-hmm.
missing the shot. Yeah. So many of those shots just early in the game just didn't fall. So yeah, he should have had a double, honestly. But yeah, I would say probably Ben Hummerkaus just to see it, and to show that he can do a little bit more than just be a spot up shooter.
Yeah. Thing that kind of like I saw the stat pop up. I think it was still in the first half. It was. At one point, Illinois had 30 points, and they were 16 of 21 from the free throw line.
Yeah.
I mean, so many free throws. So, I mean, that probably goes to just Eastern can't guard them, so they're fouling. But getting to the line 46 times tonight and hitting 34 of them, so 74%.
They
It's
were
not outstanding, but it's better than the team started last year.
they
Remember
were
last year
23 for 27 in the first half.
Yeah, there you go. Like
They shot 27 free throws in the first half.
I'm not sure that there's anything we can take from it. It just
No,
was
there's
an
not.
eye-popping stat.
Yes, it's just a
for the
big
first
number.
game of the year.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get in the chat because there are a couple people in here, a couple of the usuals. Jonathan Taylor, I think this is a new guy. Thanks for joining. Nice first victory. Everyone got their feet wet. Exceptional games from DGL and Will. Too smooth, Riley. I like that. My buddy Michael, love the rebounding. Everyone involved, and glad to be live with you guys. Appreciate you, Mike. Yeah, rebounding was as expected against an OVC team, 57 to 20, 58 to 28, I think is what I said, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, 58 to 28. I mean, Merez Johnson, even not against Eastern Illinois, he's going to be a monster on the boards.
Yeah.
And I think Ivisic is too. He's just, I don't know what to compare him to, but he's just kind of, no, I'm not going to throw a comparison. He's big. He's a big that we haven't had. He's different than Kofi, though.
You're talking
if
about
that makes sense.
Ivisic?
Ivisic,
Yeah. He's a different type of big. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not something. I mean, he's a big that can space the floor. He can shoot. He has a jump shot, and he can get down there and get rebounds and block shots. I don't think he's going to be the best defensive center you're going to find in the conference, but I think he can disrupt things.
Yeah.
People aren't going to push him around. You're not going to move him. And,
Yeah.
I think he's going to be a huge factor. And it was such a win to get him, eligible.
Yeah.
Right.
Because our last week we talked and
that's
my
true. We
biggest
haven't done a show
question
since
mark
then.
going into the season was, or my biggest, I forgot what you said, but you phrased some question to me, and I said it's all going to depend on when Tomislav Ivisic gets ruled eligible, and I think the next day. I think we did a show Wednesday. Thursday he was ruled eligible.
Thursday. Yeah.
So to have him, he was 3 of 10 from the field, so that needs to improve because he's a post player.
Yeah, that's true.
But he's 6 of his 10 shots
but
were
1 of
threes.
6 from 3.
Yeah, 6 threes, which I don't fault him for. It's not like Georgie out there shooting a 3. Georgie came in, couldn't shoot, tried to develop a shot here.
No, he can shoot.
Ivisic can shoot. I'm not going to even 6 threes. I'm like, okay, whatever. If it gets closer to 10, I'm like, okay, get inside, buddy. But he's got a shot, so that I don't hate
this
that.
team can shoot. Him, Humrickhouse, Kerry Booth can shoot.
KJ.
Dre can shoot. KJ can shoot. Kylan can shoot. Like this team, Will obviously 31 points. Jake Davis
one question mark
is a shooter.
Trey
like
White.
This team can put it up. Yeah, I think Trey
I'm not
White.
sure about his shot.
No, but Trey White is just a better version of Ty Rodgers. I mean, I think that's just what he is. I think he's Ty Rodgers with a little bit of a jump shot, but not like
Trey.
Not, compared to the rest of the team, not as strong. But like
Trey White
has the role he is.
28.6 career 3-point percentage. He was 26.5 at USC and 29.9, so 30% at Louisville last year. So he is not a 3-point shooter. But everyone else, I would have no problem taking the threes. Blake's in here. Will Riley is a dog, fellas. That's all we need to know. And then we'll save this one for later. After this, he's talking about Ty. Kai Cresswell feels good to be back. ILL. More Ty stuff. Michael listening to Coach as well, like he always does. Still need to work on turnovers. What were the turnover numbers? 13 turnovers, 9 in the first half, 5 from Kylan. Kylan was not great tonight. I know we touched on it, but Kylan was not great tonight. I mean, it's an improvement. It's 9 less than we saw on Sunday, Sunday. So I'll take it, but it is 13 against a low major opponent. So I can see why he's still concerned about that. Okay, let's talk about it. Like right before the game tipped off, I don't even know what time it was, but within the hour of the game starting, I was sent the link in a text from somebody.
I text you at
I didn't
6:08.
see it. Yeah, I was I was in the car. So 2 hours before game time.
It had maybe been out for 5 minutes when I texted
That
you.
Ty Rodgers is not going to play this year. He's going to use his red shirt. Didn't say anything about transferring or anything. He's going to work with Fletch. He's going to stay on the team, doing the same thing that Sincere Harris did last year. I don't think it's any secret that the writing's probably on the wall. Not saying that's for sure, but it doesn't seem like a move that you make if you're going to stay with that program. He just wants to keep that year of eligibility. So we will not see Ty Rodgers this year, which the rotation has been a question mark going into the year. I think he probably saw it. Brad probably told him, your minutes are probably going to go down. And Ty didn't like it, or people in his circle didn't like it, and he made the decision. I don't know if it was mutual. I haven't read any stories on it. I've only seen the tweets.
There haven't been anything. There's been nothing on it. Know that he's
redshirting. So we're not going to see Ty. My thoughts initially were, and I even tweeted it, can't shoot, can't play on this team. I don't particularly think that's the case, though. I think there's a role for his skill set on this team. So I think it's going to impact this team more than I initially thought, and maybe more than the public thinks, because he's such a smart basketball player. And this team has a lot of young guys that are going to make mistakes, and he was a steady, you can put the ball in his hands. More often than not, he's going to make the right play. So I don't love it. And I don't know if I texted you or Aaron Bennett, somebody, I said, what a joke. Did I say that to you?
I think so, yeah. I think
that was my response.
I don't remember. You might have said something like that.
That was more like...
Yes.
That was more about like where we're at in college sports now. Like,
yeah.
I'm not going to blame a kid for doing what's best for them, but it just feels a little... I don't know if disingenuous is the right word. It feels a little crappy that they do this the day of the game. But that's just me. I don't know. I like Ty. I think he's a good basketball player, but in today's day and age, he's not going to play 30 minutes. He's not going to score 15 points a game. He's going to do what he did last year. He's going to average like 6 points a game, 6 rebounds. Like he's going to have 6, 6, 6, 7, 7. Like he's going to fill up the box score, but not score a lot. So, that's my thoughts. I don't know what you think, if you're in agreement or if you have other more deeper thoughts.
I mean, I think I'm mostly in agreement with you. I think we're kind of on the same page there on his role. That's kind of been my whole thing about this offseason, and that's why I made the comment that I did on Twitter regarding Will Riley. Obviously, Will Riley can fill it up, and I don't think there's any concern about his ability to shoot the basketball and score the basketball. But this is, as you said, this is a very young team. This is a team that, if you were to pick out this team, the 5 best basketball players on this team, I would say 2 of them for sure are freshmen. One of them is older, but he still never played college basketball before. Your 2 most experienced guys, I've yet to really see much in the first 2 games I've seen, and not that I'm discounting them, but I agree with you in that I do think he had a role, and I do think there was an opportunity for him. But I think the argument is that, which you mentioned, I just don't know that the minutes were going to be there. We've known it all season long, all off season long. You had 10 guys essentially in the mix for this rotation, and in college basketball today, nobody's playing with more than 8 consistently. And I don't know that there was a path for Ty to be one of the 8, unfortunately. As much as I wanted him to be, as much as I felt like his leadership was necessary and all the things he can do, I know what Brad's looking for. And Brad's going to play. I saw somebody talk about it on Twitter about, Brad wants to play with the shiny toys, which I think that's oversimplifying it a little bit. But it is what it is. Like, this is what happened. This is exactly what I was concerned about when you went out and got a player like Will Riley. Again, I'm not trying to sit here and bash Will Riley. The kid just put up 31 points in his debut. Like, he's going to be fine, but at what cost? And the cost is obviously a veteran player, somebody who started every single game on an Elite 8 team last year.
Mm-hmm. He's
just not going to play, and he's just going to choose to sit out the season and then most likely transfer. So I agree that I do think he had a role, and I would have liked to have seen him, but I'm not sure where the minutes were at. I'm just not.
So
I just don't know.
Last year, he averaged 22.7 minutes per game. His freshman year, he played in 33 games, did not start a game his freshman year, but still averaged 17.5 minutes per game. And I know I'm comparing apples to oranges here because the exhibition at Ole Miss was a completely different kind of game. You wanted to get your youngsters in, but he played 14 minutes and didn't attempt a single shot. At Ole Miss, he had 3 rebounds, 4 turnovers, 2 assists. So he did not play great at Ole Miss. Again, one game, a fluky exhibition that you probably can't take a whole lot from. But I don't think it does. I don't think it means nothing. I think there's something to it.
I think he was maybe looking at 15 minutes a game.
Yeah, which is down big time from last year, and that's even down from his freshman year. Yeah. So I see it. There's a ton of speculation out there. He was a Tim Anderson guy. Anderson left, who he's not currently on his staff. So if someone wants to hire him next year, you might be getting Ty Rodgers with him. But again, all speculation because he has not entered the portal. There's no guarantee he's entering the portal. I just don't love the move. I get it, but I don't love that guys are doing this.
No, I don't either.
Similar to the football thing where they play 4 games and they're like, nope, I'm done. I'm in a red shirt. Like Louisville had a guy do that this year. They played his 4 games. He had some injuries, so he's like, I'm not going to play this year. I'm going to come back next year. It's like, then you throw NIL into it. I'm sure he has NIL deals. You still get the NIL money if you're not playing. Like, there's just so much to this.
This is the only thing that I will say to that is, when in your mind is a better time to make that decision? I mean, I get where you're coming from, like from a roster construction standpoint, but like at the end of the day, there was already too many guys. So I don't know that you're going to go out and find somebody else. Had he made this decision in September, like you're not adding anybody then either.
Yeah.
So like, I mean, I get what you're saying, but I guess
it's just like prepping for the season. You think you've got, like we were talking about depth. I mean, thank God they got Tomislav eligible now, because if not, you'd have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Well, honestly,
8 right there.
It's
so
possible
you're playing
that
with 9 now.
If Tomislav didn't get eligible, that this wouldn't have happened.
Yeah, that's a good thought.
It's very possible that like once that decision was made and they knew that Ty knew they were going in with a full roster, that it just wasn't going to work out for him. Like, honestly, I thought about it if there was one point super early in the game where like KJ went down or something, and he got right back up. But like there was this moment in my mind, I'm like, if anybody gets hurt in this game and is out, like, does he change his mind? I mean, like, are we seeing him on the court Friday?
Was there a moment last year after the Shannon incident where people were speculating that Harris would give up his?
I mean, I'm sure it was talked about. Once we knew he wasn't going to play, that you had another able-bodied guard that was sitting there in street clothes that you would have liked to have had, I'm sure. But I mean, I don't think it'll happen. But I mean, you'd have to think that if anything happens with the rotation, then maybe something changes. But no, he's made that decision, and we'll see what happens with it. again, I don't think anybody's necessarily totally ruling it out that, it's one way or the other for next year. But yeah, as far as this year is concerned, he's obviously made up his mind.
Yeah, he was still engaged on the bench. I remember after
he was.
There was, I only looked for it once, and it was after Riley hit one of his threes when he was on his heater in the second half, and he was up, giving the 3 sign on the bench, and then Eastern called timeout, and he was one of the first to go congratulate Will. So I think he'll be good for the team. He's just a player that I'd like to have on the floor. So it's
I'm
gonna
with
suck.
you. I'm with you. Who would have thought that the last remaining player from last year's team is Dra Gibbs-Lawhorn? Who would have thought?
Yeah, I didn't even
Not
think
me.
about that. Now there's one guy that got minutes last year, and he got like
Not
5
me.
a game. Wow. Jay in here, why didn't Ty transfer during the summer? Just odd timing for this. I think I think it's kind of what Logan said earlier. I don't think he realized his role was going to diminish as much as it did until the exhibition game. But again, that's an exhibition that Underwood's just trying to mess with the rotations and get his freshmen some experience in a hostile environment. So I wouldn't expect him to play Ty for 30 minutes in that game. He got 14. I don't know. Something.
I mean,
he saw it somewhere.
I
saw
agree
it somewhere
with Jay,
in the last
though.
2 weeks.
I agree with Jay, though. Honestly, I know.
Why didn't he do it when Will Riley committed? This thought should have popped into Ty's head.
That's what I was going to say. That's probably when it should have happened.
Yeah.
But then there was still the whole, is Will reclassifying? Like that was a whole ordeal too. So that took longer. So, and Will was a late commit as well. Like we can't forget that. Like that was late in the game.
So he signed
made that
decision. He signed his tender of financial aid on June 23rd.
I mean, he could have done it. He could have done it at any point.
Yeah.
Why he didn't, we won't know. And I doubt that we'll ever know.
Yep.
But I just have to imagine that he felt that he had more minutes coming for him, and whether or not he realized it during the exhibition game or whether it was a conversation that he and Brad had or whatever, he just realized that, he'd be better off saving his year and doing something else with it next year, whether that's here or elsewhere. So
it's so rare. Redshirt years are so rare anymore. It's crazy to even be talking about.
Now we've had 2 in a year, 2 in a row.
2 in
Deja vu. Talking about
it was
returning player
same thing last year.
Returning player, going to be a key bench guy, energy dude. Should we have seen it coming? Like I thought about this. Like, should we have seen? Honestly, I didn't. I really didn't. Like, I never. Even though we went through the whole experience last year with Sincere, like I knew we had this whole roster construction question mark, but like it just never crossed my mind. It never.
I didn't see it coming because 2 shows ago I said Ty would be starting for this team because he's the veteran.
I thought he should have been. I was saying that all off season, but clearly Brad Underwood felt something differently. And let's be honest, I do think that while I don't want to lose Ty Rodgers. I do not want to see him leave. I do think that Trey White is probably just a slightly more offensively gifted version of Ty Rodgers.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're going to get a lot of the same stuff from them. Maybe Ty exemplifies the everyday guy thing more than what Trey White will, but the objective of this team is going to be to score as many points as possible, and you're just not going to get that from Ty. Trey will probably have some games where he puts up 15 points and might help you win a game. I just don't think that's going to come from Ty. So when it came down to it, the wing situation. Like there just weren't going to be the minutes there for him. It sucks, and I hate it, and I don't want to see him leave, but it is what it is.
You said something there that reminded me that I was going to say. So, again, I feel like on this show I just regurgitate all my tweets. How often has a player represented their school at media day and then never worn that uniform again? It can't. I had one person reply to me in a direct message on Twitter saying that an Iowa football player did that 2 years ago, went to media day and then announced a transfer or something. It seems like so outlandish for it to happen, but Ty was one of our 2 representatives at media day this year. St. Dominic's Rosary in here. That 2022 freshman class was an absolute disaster. Ty Rodgers, Sincere Harris, Jaden Epps, Sky Clark. As a fan base, we had such high hopes for this class, and Illinois got nothing. Yeah.
It's true.
Womp womp.
Yeah, I mean this is the current era of college basketball.
Exactly. Illinois is gonna have 9 new guys again next year.
I get that we're seeing this up close and personal with Illinois, and yes, it is happening at probably a higher clip in Illinois than other places, but like this is happening everywhere. Not players, choosing to redshirt after a season or 2, after being a starter on a team, but when you go from being a starter on a team that plays 20-some minutes to being the third of 3 wings, and you're probably going to get 15 minutes of garbage time, and I can't blame him. I can't. I
am getting way ahead of things here, but Hummerkaus gone. Get out of here. I hate these reaction things. Okay. Hummerkaus gone.
He's the only one that will technically be out of eligibility.
Yes, but this year. I don't think you can rely on Will Riley or KJ to be back.
I think you're lucky if you get one of them back.
I don't. It's Eastern Illinois, but if
I'm just saying, I think you're lucky if you get one of them back.
Yeah. So that's 3 right there. I would expect more retention this year than the last 2 years.
I agree.
But there's still probably going to be 5 or 6 new faces. There's going to be 5 or 6 transfers. There's going to be some early guys leaving early for the draft. So you're going to have 5 or 6 guys that come in next year through the transfer portal. So it's just the way it is now. You're not building classes with freshmen. You're building them out of the transfer portal. So I think I'm finished with tonight. Are you done with tonight?
I'm done with tonight.
Okay. Friday, 7 Central, so same time. SIU-Edwardsville, another stream game. This one is Peacock, I believe. Am I right? Have you looked at that?
Yes, Peacock.
Yeah. This one's Peacock. There is one more Big Ten Plus game, so all those that bought Big Ten Plus, that's later in November. So if you bought it today or yesterday or this week, you can cancel paying only 1 month. So thank you, Big Ten, for scheduling that way. Don't have to pay 2 months, which they'd be smart if they did that. Do one on like November 4th and then the next one December 6th. So you have to pay the 2. I will not do a post-game Friday. I will be out of town. So we will not have a post-game. Sorry, Michael. I got a golf trip this weekend to Alabama, and it's supposed to rain Friday and Saturday. So wonderful. But yeah, Friday won't have a show. It should be another win. SIU-E is very similar in talent to Eastern Illinois. So hopefully we see more of the same. Logan, do you have anything else?
No. I know it was Eastern Illinois, but it was nice to see. It was just nice to see this all in action and working well together. The exhibition was discouraging. Yeah. And this was nice to see all these things we've heard about all off season long. These players we've heard about all off season long. I think this team has has some potential. I think the ceiling is pretty high for these guys. We'll just have to see if they can put it all together when the big dogs come out, because that's gonna happen pretty quickly. You got Alabama in just a little over 2 weeks, so
yeah. Speaking of someone,
you'll learn quick.
Joseph Hayden. This team could have 30 turnovers at Alabama.
Correct.
Very true. Very
Correct.
True. Actually, I was going to look at scores to see what else happened tonight. There's a good game on TNT right now. Ohio State and Texas is on TNT. If you want to check that out, Ohio State leads by 6 right now, late in the first half. While we take this game for a grain of salt for us, Purdue only beat Texas A&M Corpus Christi by 17 tonight. So there's that. That could have been us. Although Corpus Christi is much better than Eastern. Michigan State throttled Monmouth. No one else really. Everyone else was in a blowout, but a lot of Big Ten teams opened their season today. So, any national stuff before we leave? North Carolina is in a dogfight against Elon, only up 6 with 5 minutes left. Great podcasting here. Okay. Nothing else. I wanted to make sure.
Some of our best.
I wanted to make sure
we are
nothing
the best
crazy happened.
Podcast. After
yeah, I forgot to say that. I was going to say that at the top.
Have the professionals started yet? Because once
best
they
damn
start,
Illini Postgame Show. That's what we should really rebrand to that. But okay, for Logan, I'm Craig. We won't see you Friday. I don't know when the next game is, but we'll try and do one.
Wednesday the 13th
should be available for that one against Oakland, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah, against Oakland.
Correct.
So I guess Illinois just plays the same non-conference teams every year now because played Eastern and Oakland last year. For Logan, I'm Craig. Illini win by 45.